There's a new member.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Because what could go wrong? Like, it's not like anything bad's gonna happen.
Mm.
Exactly. Welcome to the 9th episode of Jared and I'll Watch K-On!
Mhm.
I'm Jared the Sand Ladium.
Hello.
And we are here to discuss the 9th episode entitled New Club Member. See, it's right there in the title. Like, obviously nothing bad's gonna happen. Everything's gonna be A-OK. And we're just gonna have a good old time in this episode.
Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Nothing. Absolutely not a thing. Zip zero nada. Nothing.
So anyway, everything goes wrong.
What? No. What? No. You no. Lies.
So we have our new member show up and says she wants to be in the light music club.
Correct.
And part of her excitement is Yui and her guitar skills.
Yes, that is true.
Yep.
So we begin this episode,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's very excited.
Mm-hmm.
So they just hound Azusa with questions about her and everything, and Mio's like, "Guys, you gotta stop. Gotta stop. Gotta stop. Gotta stop. You're gonna scare her away.
Guys, find your chill.
Find your chill." So she properly introduces herself, and like you said, she's like, I want to be, I want to be like Yui here, Yui senpai, and Yui's like, oh, Yui senpai,
Yui
senpai, senpai, senpai. Everyone's just like, oh god, you're enjoying this way too much.
Yep.
So they're like, okay, hey, so you're a guitar player, like, why don't you show us a little bit of like what you can do? And Yui's just like, oh, maybe I can teach you a couple of things,
Yeah.
And then I was just like, okay, I guess. I mean, it's not going to be that great, but I'll show you. And then she just starts shredding.
Shredding. And they're like, oh my god, you're Jimi Hendrix.
And everyone just like looks at you and like, oh man, she's way better than you. And he was like, I mean, that was okay. It was fine.
And at one point, she's like, so why want you to play? And he was like, oh, my arm. I threw it out. I threw out my arm. I can't play. I can't possibly play. Ow.
Everyone's just like, oh my god, you are full of it.
Yeah.
So Azusa gives her club application. Ritsu accepts. She is now an official member of the Light Music Club.
Mm-hmm.
So we get
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? The next day, Azusa is like, "I've been so ready to go to club practice. I'm so excited. Yeah, the day hasn't gone fast enough." And she gets there, and then everyone's just like, "Yeah, we're having tea and having some chit chat." And she's like, what's going on, guys? Guys, practice? No." And then like the Shamanaka shows up. She's like, "Oh God, they're gonna get scolded because they're just sitting here drinking tea." And then she just walks in like, "Oh yes, Boogie, can you get me some tea as well?" And she's like, "Wait, what?
What?
What?" And then while everyone's just relaxing, I was just like, "Wait, they're clearly testing me. This is a test. I gotta show I have initiative." And she gets up to like start playing, and then Miss Yamanaka's like, "Shut up!" It's like, oh god.
She freaks out. No.
And the rest of the club's like, "What are you doing? Why did you yell at her?" And then Oz just like freaks out, like, "Why are we practicing?" And then like Yui just like gets up and starts like patting her and petting her. She's like, And then Mia's like, "Hey, all right, we gotta practice. Tomorrow we're practicing." Yeah.
Practice.
The next day, Azusa goes into the club room again, and then basically they're not doing anything again. It's like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, we gotta practice. And then like, as soon as they try to practice, she was like, "Oh, I'm tired. I want some cake." So she just like goes out of commission, and then she like here, Azusa, you have some cake too. And I was like, oh no. And then she eats it, like, oh. Like, oh well, you pretty much are in the right club because you enjoy this too.
I mean, I would go to a club for cake.
It's true. So they kind of just have a little bit of time to just sit and chit chat. Azusa talks a little bit about more of herself, and then Miss Yamanaka just gives her some cat ears.
Yep.
Like, here's your welcoming present. And she puts them on, and they're like, you should act like a cat. And then Yui just gets the bread. You're like, oh, okay, your new name is Azunyan.
Nyan. Loki, are you a Nyan? He's like, Mom, please.
So all that happens, and then Mio's like, we kind of like, we can't keep doing this. Like, she might leave the club if we start acting just like this all the time. And there's like, what? No, we need to do something to stop that. What if we have a welcoming party? And they go to like this park and have a little party, and then everyone just continues to act the same way.
Have snacks.
Mio yells at everyone, and basically here Oz is like, Mio, why don't you play any of the bands outside the light music club? And Mio's like,
This is my band.
don't know. So they decide to get serious the next day, and then Yui's just like, I can play.
Yeah,
And then
cake.
And then finally breaks her cool strings, like, Azusa, please teach me how to play guitar. Oh God, I don't know how. They're able to have a little bit of practice, but then eventually they all like slink down to like, oh, we need snacks and tea. And then Azus is like, well, I don't know if I fit in this club. This isn't good. So she basically just doesn't show up for a couple weeks. And in the meantime, she goes off looking at other bands to join, looking at other performances, and tries
hilariously like goes to a club with a guitar strapped to her back some reason, like
that's
because
fine.
that's a normal thing to do.
And essentially she tries to answer the question of like, why is it that I can watch these other bands like perform and play, but
I don't get that same feeling.
They don't give me the same feeling or the same sensation that I got when I watched the Light Music Club perform. Like, what's the difference between these two? So she eventually goes back, and they're like, oh God, you're back. And she basically just asks like, why, how is it that you guys are so lazy, but like you when you have to perform, like you guys are amazing. And they play a little bit for her, and then Mio basically kind of like talks to her afterwards, like, hey, you remember when you asked me like why I don't play any other bands outside of the Light Music Club? And she's like, well, like, these are my friends. I don't want to perform for anyone else. Like, I want to perform with these girls. Like, they're the ones that bring out the best in me and all that.
They're my bros.
Yeah. And Oz is just like kind of spellbound by the performance, and then that explanation is like, okay, I guess I'm in now. Blood pact.
Permanent band member. Club band member.
Everything's A-okay now.
Nyan.
Yes, exactly. Well, we got a bit of trivia.
As much as last time.
Not as much, but a little bit more than usual. All right, so here's our trivia for this week. Azusa's solo at the beginning of the episode cuts to a figure not unlike Jeff Beck with her trademark pigtails. This is because her solo is based on two Led Zeppelin songs, Whole Lotta Love and Communication Breakdown. And some differences from the manga. In this episode, Azusa is asked a lot of questions by Yui, Tsumugi, and Ritsu. In the manga, only Yui and Ritsu were the ones asking her questions. And then also in the manga, when coming back to the club room and being showed the cat ears, Azusa and the rest of the club were wearing their school sweaters. In this episode, they were only wearing their regular school uniforms. So there you go. Big differences.
Huge differences.
Huge.
Just completely change everything about the episode.
It's like two different things altogether.
Which you explained to me was it the opening of this episode? That you're like, hey, look, this is why there was that weird space.
Yes.
It's because we have a new member.
So like the first 8 episodes have just the four girls in the opening, and like
Yep.
some of like the front on band profile shots are just like Yui's like offset, like she's off center, and it doesn't make sense. But then like once we get to this episode and they add Asa into those group shots, it's like, oh, they just waited to put her in. It's a little weird way of doing that, but yeah. So next time,
You've also told me that, like, Don't Say Lazy is going away, and I'm very sad about that.
true, when we have a few more episodes of that left.
Oh, I really like that one.
Next time we will be discussing episode number 10 as we wind down season 1, and we gotta go back to the beach.
Going to the beach again?
We gotta have another training camp. It's a new year, new training camp,
Wow.
and a new member. So next time, episode number 10, entitled Another Training Camp. But if you'd like more from us, go to seasonlanguagecheckup.com or SC.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast or other podcasts like Season Language Checkup and Season Language Checkup OVA, and columns and reviews. You can find more from Anladium at anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. And you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. That's where we do Twitter. So next time, we're going to go do another training camp and train and camp and beach.
As you do.